Welcome to Ordinary to Badass. Whether you're ordinary or badass, I'm glad you're here. Today's guest is Mutiat Adebowale. Mutiat, thank you so much for being here. Excited to have you on the show.
Thank you so much, Marie. Nice to be with you.
So before we go any further, I've got to ask you, do you consider yourself ordinary or badass?
A badass. I
I
can
love
tell you
it.
that.
Just own it. So what's something that you've done that has helped you to feel badass?
You know what? It's been like a journey from a long time. And the fact that I've not been like resisting, I've not quit it. I'm going on. And the fact that I've been able to move my business from doing a coaching business to creating a home care agency and continuing to help people, change people's lives and achieve dreams. Yes, I tell you, yes, I'm a badass.
I love it. Actually, I'll ask you if everything's always been easy for you. I'll ask you more questions about that in a little bit. But first, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, so Mutiat Adebowale. I'm a leadership and a life coach. I help my clients, female primarily, who are in leadership positions, to master their habits of success and be the best of themselves and hit peak performance, to hit peak performance with the team members and generally just change the dynamics of the organization and their lives as well. And from there, I got into owning my own home care agency. So I've got two businesses. So I do my coaching business and I have another company that I manage. Okay, so basically that's what I do.
So, how did you get into the coaching business?
Okay, the coaching business is a huge story. Many years ago, in around 2007, 2008, previously before then, I've been blogging. I I write lots of stories and poetry. I'll tell you why I used to do that. But around 2007, 2008, I decided to see what I can do with my blogging. And whilst I searched on the line internet, I noticed some advertisements comes up every time, something life coaching, try life coaching. And I never knew what coaching was about. So I clicked on that and I read it. It was so fascinating. So I started going for open events, training events. And then in 2011, I actually got my first life coaching certification. And then I started pursuing my coaching business.
So, what excites you most about being a coach?
Oh, about being a coach, what excites me most is ability to help other people change their lives. I'll tell you something, I said I used to do a lot of writing, poetry, and songs, and things like that, and stories. What got me into that was when I was younger, at about 12 years old, I was bullied in school, secondary school. I was really bullied, and then I said to myself, I wasn't going to be like talking in class because each time I talked in class, my friends would look at me and they would say same things when we got on the playground, they formed circles around me and chant songs and mockery. So I said to myself, I wasn't going to be talking in class. I wasn't going to be talking where you have lots of people. And when I made that decision, I stuck to it. And that went on until I left secondary school, I left tertiary institution, I was working and I wasn't really like talking to people. I was a broadcaster and outside the microphone, the studio, the cubicle, I would not speak. As in literally, I would just not speak to anyone. So until I found coaching, that was what actually changed my life. When I saw coaching and I attended the first event and I saw people who were trying to live their life, express themselves just like me, and people who'd been stuck at some point. So it was a breakthrough for me. So I jumped into it. I was able to express myself. It was an open atmosphere. Nobody was judging you for any reason. So I got into coaching. I got coached and then I started my journey as a coach as well. So the fact that I was able to do that leap and then see myself help people become confident, have breakthroughs in their lives, change positions, get promotion, change their lives, change the lives of the people they're responsible for. It really lights me up, because I said to myself, if I hadn't made that decision, I wouldn't be helping these people now. So it really lights me up. It excites me every time I'm able to help somebody change their life. I said, yes, I actually made a good decision being a coach.
I love that. And there's so many little nuggets in there that you talked about that I want to hit on and dig in a little bit deeper. Um, and it sounds like one of the reasons you said you became a coach is because people are to change people's lives. Sometimes people get in their own way of changing their own lives. What have you seen that people do? And then what is the solution that you offer?
Yes, many times we get in our way, people get in their ways, and most of the time they do not know. Okay. And until they have people like coaches who are able to help them open up, you see, different avenues, open up their lives, potentials they are blocking, the beliefs that's holding them back, and the thoughts and the behavior, and then you find somebody to help you open up. So for me, I use different modalities depending on who I am working with. I'll give you an example. I had a client. She was a junior manager, and then in our workplace, she applied for an internal vacancy for a leadership position because she believed she deserved it. So when she applied for that, they didn't give her the position. She was denied. And then she came to me for leadership skills development and coaching and all of that. And as we were going through different exercises and the things that she wanted to do, so we did some exercises based on what triggers her, what the emotions, the things that triggers her in the day. So she was meant to do 5 reactions. She writes 5 reactions every day, from the interaction she gets to have with other people. And then so she can know what triggers her and how the buildup of the things that trigger her, make meaning in her life and in her daily experiences. And, as we do all of these exercises and different things, we realized that she had actually came for coaching, not because she wanted to have a leadership coaching per se, but because she wanted to prove them wrong at work. So she was acting in a way that didn't really align with her true beliefs, and who she was. So then when that came to fore, during the coaching, we had to reset the purpose. Okay. And then we had to find something that really aligns with her. And then we worked on that. And as soon as we got that done, she just flew and she excelled like never before. She got a different job. She didn't need to prove anybody wrong. She didn't need to, act in accordance to other people's wishes or their ideas of what success means for anybody. So she knew who she was. She aligned with her true self. She flew. She had a good position somewhere else. And, she just went. So sometimes we hold ourselves back because we are not connected with our true calling, okay? Because we act in response to what other people are doing. We act in response to the environment within which we are, okay? So until you find somebody to open up that for you, people may be lost and may not actually know where they're going, which is why a lot of people need to have clarity as to the things they're pursuing in life. So people get stuck when they do not have that clarity.
What's So hiring a coach would probably be one thing. What's something else that people can do to try to find clarity?
Well, hiring a coach will be one thing. What you can do to find clarity is really ask yourself, what do you want to find clarity about? Is it your purpose? Is it, your next step in life? You should be able to ask yourself exactly, what am I doing this for? Why am I doing it? You need to know your why. And there are different ways you want to know your why. How will this affect me? How will it change my life? What effect is it going to have on the people around me? Why do I want this? Why is it now? What is going to happen if I have it now? If I don't have it now, what is going to happen to me? Who is it going to benefit? Who is not going to benefit? Different questions. So you need to be able to ask yourself questions that gets into your core, that actually gets into who you are, so that you can then align with your real self, your higher power, that tells you who you really are, so that you know that the things you're pursuing, the things that you want, are really things that you want, and not based on, what society defines success to be, or what the society expects you to be, but something that you really want, from your core, from inside of you.
Yeah, and I think that's so important. And I think also, to speak on hiring a coach, also, it's like sometimes we need somebody else who can see things from the outside because we get in our own way from seeing what's right in front of us. And, a coach can often see those things for you.
You know what? As a coach, for me, I don't know other people. As a coach, I always like to have a coach myself, because I can't even see all my dark spots myself. No, I can't. And I believe that's true for so many people. We cannot see our blind spots. We cannot. It's just like you are looking at somebody, from distance. You see them from head to toe, possibly. You see the stains on their clothes. You see how they've smiled. You see when, there's a slit somewhere. They cannot look at themselves and see exactly what you're seeing. So when we're looking at people, from that lens, you see them more. But when people are looking at themselves, so when we're looking at ourselves as to what we really need, we don't see much of ourselves as much as other people will see us, really. Which is why when you go somewhere, they say action speaks louder than voice. Your body language, the signals you're making that you are not even aware of, other people looking at you can pick that up.
Yes.
So people can see us more than we can see ourselves. So when you hire a coach, you have the tendency of breaking through and having that success, because they're able to see what you cannot see. They're able to open up for you, those dark places that you cannot get into by yourself. So yeah, having a coach is great. Yeah.
Yeah, and I like how you said that, like, sometimes, like, your body language and stuff gives it away.
Yeah.
So it's and then that kinda reminds me how you were talking about that client of yours that wasn't necessarily living in her truth or living in her alignment, and then probably her body language and everything just gave it away to everybody else.
Exactly.
And then it's
Exactly. Because she wanted something else. She came for something else, and she thought she came for a different thing. But I was able to figure that out, in the journey with her, to say, no, this is not what you want from what you've done so far and written out and expressed. This is, you wanted something else, and we had to open her. She had to say what exactly she wanted, and yeah.
and then it's hard to be confident or show confidence if you're really not, living in truth or alignment with who you are.
That is it. That is it. It is so hard. And the harder we try to be confident, to appear confident, the worse it gets for us. We just continue to bang our heads and like, yes, I wanted to do this, I want to do that. But you're not doing it because you're blocking your way. Because you are just trying, you're in a process of wanting to be, you're not there. And you cannot get there until you open all of the doors that leads you to where you're going, really. So when we're not in our truth, which is why a lot of people continue to struggle to do things and just continue to hit, the wall, the brick wall, and they cannot go through because they're actually not in their truth. Once you flow in alignment with what you truly want, things come so easy. Once you're really clear, clarity, I say, solves all the problem. When you are really clear about what you want, things go easy, because then you're in your truth. You're not working on other people's terms. You're not working in comparison to what other people are saying. You are aligned with what is true to you and what is right to you, and you're going in your way, on your path that you've carved for yourself. So it is very important for us to be clear on what we want and be true to ourselves. Know who you are really. We need to do that work so that we're able to see ourselves clearly.
So, how do you find the truth and the alignment? Is it just through continually searching, or what do you do?
it's a journey to actually find ourselves and know ourselves, but then it has a starting point. It's for you to really want to be sure that you want to define yourself and differentiate yourself and pick yourself out of the clutter. Know that there is so much around you, and because we're in a world that is constantly looking to mold us and make us fit in, so it's for people to decide whether they want to be molded by the society and the environment within which they find themselves, or they want to break free and they want to be able to differentiate themselves from the rest and just find themselves amongst the pebble. One thing I say to my clients, one of the exercises I make them do is to really know yourself, find yourself. You can imagine you have like a jar filled with water and pebbles, lots of pebbles. And then you continue to look in the water, in the jar, see the pebbles, and know that regardless of how many pebbles you find, there is always a difference, right, in each pebble's patterns or their appearance. So when you look at that, you want to say to yourself, how am I going to differentiate myself in this sea of semblance? Despite the semblance in all of the pebbles, how am I going to differentiate myself? So when you look so deeply, you will find out that you can find yourself as one that is unique. And with that, you can begin to humble yourself with the uniqueness that you have, your ability, your quality, your unique value, your unique quality that makes you different to other people. And when you notice that, you can live on that, you can begin to grow that, by asking yourself, why am I here? What am I doing here? Who am I when other people are not watching? So when you get to the core of who you are, what do I want? Why do I want it? What makes it different to me having this and not having this? What does it make in my life? What difference does it create in my life? What essence does it serve in my life? So when you're able to uncover all of these things, you find out who you are, what makes you unique. How can I build on my uniqueness?
I
And in
love
a
that.
very humbling way, you can ground yourself in that thing, go with it, and not just your uniqueness in a positive way. It also helps you know about your shortcomings anyway, and then you can live with that. You can know how you want to manage and make the best of your shortcomings, okay? Because we need to accept who we are as a whole, the good and the bad. How am I going to make the best use of who I am, the good and the bad? And in that we grow, we continue, we evolve into who we are. It's a journey. So we continue to evolve and know who we are. We fall in love with ourselves. We do the things that makes us happy, and then we can contribute to ourselves and contribute to the world, really. So yeah.
So oftentimes, we love the good parts of ourselves, but it's so hard to love the shortcomings. What's something that we can do to start to accept, all of ourselves?
The thing is, yes, we do love the good part of ourselves, and then we try to bang our head and like, I'm not good, I'm not good. See, we must know that that is who we are. Okay, and you cannot take one part of you and decide not to take the other part of you and reject the other part of you. No, then you're not whole. Okay, it is in accepting the entirety of who we are. Okay, that makes us real, that makes us whole, authentic. Okay, the only thing we can do when we notice our shortcomings is you either want to manage it well, as in either you want to change yourself, you want to learn new skills, you want to unlearn the things that are not serving you, or you just want to live with it. You just want to tell people this is who I am. You either accept me or not, but I'm accepting myself wholeheartedly. I'm accepting myself, the good, the bad, the ugly. Okay, so it's either you're accepting yourself or you're not accepting yourself, and then you want to change, because sometimes what's not, I'm not going to say not good, because I want to believe everything's good about us. It depends on how we manage, how we see perception really, really matters. How we see we call our shortcomings. So how do you want to manage what shortcomings you've got? Do you want to improve on them? Do you want to throw them around you and say, this is who I am? I go on with it. I'm not labeling myself, but this is who I am because I cannot change it. Okay. For as long as it's not hurting anybody, for as long as you are not using your shortcomings to deprive anybody of their happiness, their joy, their success, that sort of thing, then if you want to go with it, fine. If you want to unlearn it, fine. If you know, so, but we need to accept ourselves wholeheartedly, good, bad, ugly. No one is flawless. Okay, we all have our, decent amount of flaws and shortcomings and all of that. So we've got to take it. I mean, if we were meant to be perfect, we would have been created perfect. We're far from being perfect. We can never be perfect. So do not try to attain perfection. You don't need it.
Yeah. And it's like, how boring would that be? If everybody was perfect all the time, it's like that would be such a boring life.
Exactly, exactly. And and the fact that we are in different shapes, and as in what I mean is we comprise of this good, the bad, the ugly, honestly makes us the best of creature, because that's that's so much fun. I know I can be naughty sometimes. I know I can be good sometimes. I mean, I'll just give you an example. Like in my home with my husband, I can be nice and I can be really nasty. It's just variety. You can't be just good all the time. It's boring. Come on. So yeah. So that's about the flavors of life.
Yes, I love that. So good. So, can you talk a little bit about how your experience as a broadcaster and how you said you wouldn't speak like outside of broadcasting? Can you talk about that?
Oh, okay. You see, I did broadcasting from, I studied mass communications. Okay. So, and I had been doing broadcasting from when I was about 19 years old, and I loved it. And I chose radio. Well, I wouldn't know why I chose radio. Maybe because of the bullying that I'd seen, or maybe because I just liked radio. But the thing was, I would only speak when I have my scripts in the newsroom, or I was in the newsroom, then I moved in complete presentation. So I would only speak when I had to go and record something or read the news, and that's it. I didn't even have friends. And that was because I had said to myself that I wasn't going to be speaking where there were people, a lot of people. And I just I withdrew into my shell. I was seen to be somebody who was quiet. I glorified being shy. I loved to be, oh, she's a shy girl. And it wasn't really serving me at the time, because I was only popular because I had my voice on the radio. Not because when there were events outside that we needed to like cover events outside, I would not love to go. And even when I went, I wouldn't just want to talk. I don't interact with people, to the point that my first year of actually being like a worker, because I had internship before then working. My first year of actual work, as in being staffed in a radio station, I was nominated for, I think it was a promising staff, that sort of thing, award at the end of the year. And we had that event, and they called my name. Congratulations, come get your flag. Do you know what? As soon as my name was called, I just froze and I melted the same time. I couldn't go. They
Right.
had to bring the plaque to me because I was just too shy to do it. I was just too shy. And people wondered, how come you could do programs behind the microphone and all of that? I couldn't even do anything video anyway. So I didn't know, but I knew that inside of me, it was because I said to myself that I wasn't going to be speaking from the bullying that I had seen when I was younger. And the reason was I wasn't sure whether it was making people uncomfortable. So it was a belief system in my mind that where people were, if I decided to speak out and be who I wanted to be, they would either think I was showing off, or they would think that I just wanted attention. I just wanted to be seen. So I said, okay, I'd rather just be in my shell and withdraw back and just be who I want to be, and not speak to people, so that nobody labels me as either wanting attention or showing off or just showing myself. So I said, I'd rather be invisible.
Yeah.
And yes, and that was how I lived it for so long, until, you can imagine, when I started broadcasting at about 19, and I didn't get through that until I was 30 something. So many years.
Yeah, that's such
Yeah.
a powerful story. Um, and I liked how you said it wasn't like it wasn't serving you.
It
And
wasn't serving me. It wasn't serving me because back then, you see, people who were my colleagues who were as young as I was, and they were like outspoken and, going out and doing things, and they're not shy. They had other opportunities even outside. So I was only able to do like my key role, and I was able to do like maybe voiceovers, that sort of thing. But they had events to do, MCs, and I didn't get any of that because I wasn't showing who I was, because I wasn't showing the skills that I had. I wasn't talking, I wasn't interacting, I was so boring.
and
So, of course, so it wasn't really serving me, yeah. And I wasn't bringing the best of me out. I was just hidden within myself. And no, it
and maybe
wasn't.
you weren't in alignment.
Well, it just could be. Maybe I wasn't in alignment. It just could be.
Yeah. So what was the breaking point for you? What made you say, okay, I got to make a change here?
Oh, the breaking point was when I saw people just like me. Well, not just like me, as in not shy, but people who were trying to make life, people who were trying to find their purpose, people who were trying to impact other people, influence other people, and, make a break at the coaching. So then there was an exercise. Everybody had to come out and speak for about 1-2 minutes, introduce yourself, say who you are, what you do, why you're here. And in years, that was the first time that I did it. So when I saw people going out, like, because I could see that some of them were like newbies, they weren't doing like speaking, they've probably never spoken on a stage or even to a group of people before. So I was like, I can do this. And the fact that that environment was so um, accommodating, no judgments, no biases, everybody was free to do what they wanted to do, express themselves just the way they wanted to express themselves. I knew I was safe there. I knew there were a group of like-minded people who wasn't going to criticize what I was doing or wasn't going to label me. So I said, okay, this is beautiful. I can do this. I'm going to give it a try. And one thing I did, I went out, I spoke. It wasn't for long, it was just for about 2 minutes. And I felt like, when you have a baggage that's so heavy, you'd been carrying for years, you just dropped it. I felt so light. I felt relieved. I felt like I had done something I hadn't done in years. And wow, this was beautiful. And I said to myself, I'm going to keep coming back here. So I went and I went and I went. And yes, that was just a breakthrough. Like, wow, I couldn't speak before people. I spoke, I stood up and I spoke. It was so refreshing. Yeah.
I love that. And there's so many takeaways from that. Like all you need is 2 minutes of courage, just do the first thing at the smallest step possible. And it's just 2 minutes of courage and it doesn't have to be an hour long thing. Your first time,
Exactly.
just do the small things. And then also like find somebody you're safe around, find a group of
Exactly.
people that you can be safe
Yeah.
around and then try it that way.
That's it. Because, I said to myself, I could have chosen not to go out at all, and I would still be carrying the baggage because nobody was forced. So you were asked, do you want to come out? You just raise your hand, yes, I want to come out, and that's it.
I
So I
love
said,
that. So good.
awesome.
So I know that you have a podcast, You Soulful Genius. Will you talk a little bit about that?
Oh, that. I was going to, I said to myself, I've got to say something about this. Thank you, Marie. You made that happen.
Perfect
You
timing.
made that happen. Goodness, thank you so much for that. Yeah. So yes, the podcast is kicking off now, which is good. Doing the episodes one by one. I did a trailer. So the You Soulful Genius podcast is something to do with our soulfulness, our purpose, who we are as individuals, creating a space for people who were just like me, who were trying to define their purpose, find who they were, to be able to open up, in a very balanced, intuitive way, with their conscience, coming out to live their life just the way they're meant to live. So it's a platform to help people find their purpose, know who they are, shine the light onto the world, become blessings that they're meant to be onto the world, give out and give other people the permission to be who they want to be. So we share stories of greatness. We share stories of people who've fallen and were able to pick themselves up and dust off and just keep moving onwards. So inspiring inspirations and things to help other people, give them the permission to live purposefully. Really, that's what we do on the
It,
show.
yeah, I listened to the first episode. It's so good. I think that there's great takeaways. Ode to Beers, definitely check it out. It's so good. And one
Thank
thing
you.
that I wanted to ask you about is I know that on You Soulful Genius, you kind of talk about cutting across barriers for color, religion, class. Do you have one suggestion on how we can do that?
You know what? It is, as I said, is something soulful. It is the humanness of who we are. So we can just open up our mind to see each other as another individual, another human being just like you. And when we take away those biases, when we take away um, things like color, like race, like religion, you see how close you are to the next person. Mari, imagine what happened when I put the post on Facebook, right? And you just jumped on. You weren't biased about who it was, and you just jumped on and you gave me all the nuggets, you gave me all the templates, everything. That's what we're talking about. Okay. Forget about color, forget about gender, just see the humanness. When you did that, you don't know how many people are going to benefit from what you've done that I am now putting forward, and I don't know who's going to benefit. So when we begin to do things like that, like when you do your podcast, a white person is going to benefit from it, a brown, a yellow, a green, a Muslim, a Sikh, a Christian, a non-believer, an atheist, everybody. And that is what we're talking about. Like, just be open, see the humanness in the next person. When I say human, I don't even know if that's a word. What I'm saying is see the fact that every human being is just a person like you, and we are here on earth, you know, to live, to be happy, to be fulfilled. And what better way to contribute to the world other than contributing to the next human being, whoever they are, just contribute to them positively. And then when we can take that on, the folds in which we will multiply the goodness that's right on earth. I mean, we wouldn't be able, we just can't imagine it. So that's what it's about. Just see the next person as an individual, just like you, craving happiness, craving joy, craving love, just like you. And with that, honestly, we'll have a sweeter, sweeter world.
Yes, I love that. It warms my heart. I think it's so great. And right now, it's like it's so easy for people to look at the differences as opposed to looking for the similarities. So I think that
Exactly.
your podcast is so needed and I absolutely love it.
Oh, thank you.
So
Thank you.
let's end with a tip to encourage women who are in the arena fighting for the life they want.
Okay. The first thing is live to your truth. Who are you? Know who you are. Believe in the authentic human being that resides in you. Okay. And when you believe in who you are, love yourself and take yourself wholeheartedly as who you are. When you do that, things will open up, because when you accept yourself, you teach other people how to accept you, then you attract all the great things that you want into your life. When we don't accept who we are, we block our ways, we block opportunities. So the first thing you want to do is first accept yourself, know your truth, live on your truth, because then you can open path for yourself for greatness, to grow, to learn, to love, to find, okay, and just to fly. So know who you are, live with who you are, believe in yourself, and just see how much you're gonna flourish.
So good. Love it. How can we connect with you?
Oh yeah, connect with me via Instagram, Mutiat Adebowale 1, or go listen to my podcast, You Soulful Genius podcast. I am also the founder at the creativebusinesssuite.com, where all of the things that we do, are coming out. So yes, connect with me on Facebook, Muted Adebowale, Instagram, Muted Adebowale 1, You Soulful Genius podcast, and the creativebusinesssuite.com.
Awesome. I will throw that in the show notes so that everybody can check you out. Thank you so much. You've been a total badass and I've enjoyed hearing your story.
Thank you so much, Mario, for inviting me, and thank you for all the wonderful and the great jobs you're doing out there and being a soulful genius. Thank you.
You too. I'm so glad that we connected. And with that, we'll end our show. To all the badass women out there staying in the arena, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, own it and get after it.